Alright, so we have the PRS SE DGT, and this guitar is absolutely fantastic. It's very quickly become my main go-to guitar. And I want to talk about the tonal reasons for why. Now there's 2 points I want to focus on, and it's basically the dynamic control that this guitar has. The first thing I want to talk about is the split coil. So if I'm honest, I've never really been that much of a fan of a split coil, but I tried it out on this thing and I was actually quite surprised at how nice it sounds. And maybe something that guitars generally try to do when they have a split coil is they try to make it sound more like that Strat type of tone. Now I can tell you this guitar doesn't sound like a Strat, and I'm okay with that. Something that it does do, which I'm hopeful that you can kind of hear in this little clip, when you split it, it actually keeps the same characteristics of the pickup. It still sounds like the same guitar. It just takes away some of that grit, some of that overdrive. It really feels like the characteristics of this guitar, the characteristics of the pickups, the humbuckers, they're still kind of there, but it's sort of being thinned out and cleaned up a little bit, and it sounds really nice. Now this is something that I tend to use quite a lot. If I'm working on a track and I want less gain, the first thing I'm going to try and do is just split the coils a little bit and see what happens, see what type of tones I'm able to get. Also, not forgetting to mention that the ability to actually have a nice usable split coil, it just adds that versatility onto the guitar. So the other point I wanted to talk about, which cannot go unspoken, is the ability this guitar has to just perfectly clean the tone up just by using the volume control. Now this is something that I tend to do quite a lot anyway. If I want to roll off some of the overdrive, I always tend to roll off the volume, but I've always found that I can start overthinking my tone a little bit too much because I'm just lowering the volume. I'm keeping the same amount of gain usually, but just lowering the volume to make the guitar sound less harsh. The cool thing about this is that when you roll off the volume, it's massively taking out the overdrive before it starts to really reduce the volume. So I would say around about the sort of halfway mark. So let's say your volume is on 10 and then you're rolling it down to about 5, maybe about 4. That's when there's a very noticeable difference in regards to the volume drop in. I'd say from about 10 down to 5, it's just sort of taking out all the overdrive and just really cleaning up the tone. Now, if you're wondering why this guitar is really good at doing this, it's because it has a treble bleed in it. Now, I don't know all the technical side of what that actually is, but basically, sonically, what you're hearing is the treble bleed circuit in action. It's gonna clear out your tone, take some of the overdrive, take some of the gain out before it starts to massively reduce the volume. So you're able to have a usable, cleaner sound just by controlling the volume. Now, this isn't something that I've had in any of my guitars before. Like I said, usually I just roll the volume off slightly, and I've just got the same sound, but just a little bit lower in volume. So it's not as aggressive, but this thing is an absolute tone monster because you have the ability to have, I find, a usable split coil, and it sounds very nice. I like the humbuckers. I like that split sound as well. I think it's also, like I said, I think it's usable. And then you have the ability to take the aggression out of the pickups, whether it's already split or whether you're just going full humbucker, just by rolling off that volume. So dynamically, you have quite a lot of possibilities before you even use or adjust anything on a pedal board, which I think is awesome because it just gives you a little bit more freedom with your tone. Okay, so I hope you've got a little bit from that video and I've provided some sort of value for you if you're looking at getting a PRS SE DGT, because it is a really, really good guitar. If I have, then go ahead and hit that like button and that subscribe button just down there, because it really does boost the channel out to some new people. And thank you very much. I'll catch you guys in the next one.